You were not born to remain broken. Life has its way of knocking us down, of causing us pain, and of bringing moments that make us feel crushed. But here's the truth: you were never created to stay down. You were made to stand up again. You were made to rebuild yourself. No matter how hard life has hit you, no matter how many times you failed or felt lost, you have the power to rise again. You are not defeated unless you give up. And if you're still here, still breathing, then there's hope. There's a chance for renewal. There's an opportunity for you to rebuild yourself stronger than you've ever been. Life is not about staying in the place where you were hurt. It's about understanding that pain doesn't have the final say. The mistakes, the failures, the disappointments, those are not the end. They're the beginning of something new if you allow them to be. Life may tear down some parts of you, but those parts can be rebuilt. You are never too damaged to recover. You are never too broken to be restored. When you look at yourself, you might see the cracks, the scars, and the pieces that seem to have fallen apart. But these are the very things that can make you stronger. They are not signs of defeat, they are signs of endurance. They show that you've been through something, but you're still standing. And because you are still standing, you have the ability to rebuild those broken pieces into something even more powerful. You see, rebuilding is a process. It's not instant. It requires patience, it requires commitment, and it requires faith in yourself. You have to believe that you are worth rebuilding. You have to believe that the future can be better than the past. You have to believe that. Even though things didn't go the way you planned, there is still a path forward. And as long as you believe that, nothing can stop you from rising again. Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to take the first step. You may look at the situation around you and think, how can I possibly start over from this? But that's where strength is found, in taking that first step. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be big. But it has to be a step. Even if you don't know how everything is going to work out, you take that step anyway because you believe that moving forward is better than staying in the same place. And let me tell you something, you have more inside of you than you realize. You have more strength, more courage, and more potential than you can even imagine. Sometimes it takes hitting rock bottom to see just how strong you really are. It's when everything falls apart that you discover the power to rebuild. It's when you feel like you've lost everything that you realize the most important thing: you still have yourself. You are the foundation of your life. No matter what's been taken from you, no matter what's fallen apart, you are still here. And that means you can start again. That means you can rebuild. You don't need everything to be perfect. You don't need to have it all together. All you need is the willingness to begin. All you need is the decision that you won't stay down. Rebuilding yourself means taking responsibility for your life. It means recognizing that, yes, things have gone wrong, but you don't have to stay stuck in that place. You don't have to be defined by your past. You don't have to carry the weight of your failures. You can decide today that you are going to rebuild. You can decide today that your future is going to be different from your past. The beautiful thing about rebuilding is that you get to create something new. You don't have to put everything back exactly the way it was. In fact, you probably shouldn't. Some things need to change. Some things need to be left behind. Some things were never meant to be part of the new you. Rebuilding is your chance to make different choices, to lay a new foundation, to create a life that is stronger and more aligned with who you truly are. But let me tell you something, it won't be easy. There will be moments when you feel like giving up. There will be times when it seems like nothing is working. But those are the moments that matter most. Those are the moments when you have to dig deep and remind yourself why you're rebuilding. You're rebuilding because you deserve better. You're rebuilding because you have a purpose. You're rebuilding because there is something inside of you that refuses to be defeated. The world is full of people who have rebuilt themselves after facing unbelievable hardships. People who have lost everything but found a way to start over. People who have been knocked down but refuse to stay there. What separates them from those who never recover is not that they didn't experience pain or loss. It's that they made a choice to rebuild. They made a choice to keep going when it would have been easier to quit. And you can make that choice too. You can decide today that you will not be defined by what has happened to you. You can decide that your future is more important than your past. You can decide that you are going to rebuild yourself no matter how hard it is, no matter how long it takes. Every day is a new opportunity to rebuild. Every day is a chance to take a step forward. You don't have to have all the answers right now. You don't have to know exactly how everything will turn out. All you have to do is keep moving forward. All you have to do is trust that the process of rebuilding is worth it. And it is worth it because you are worth it. You were not put here to live in defeat. You were not created to stay broken. You were created to rise, to overcome, to rebuild. And that's exactly what you are going to do. You are going to rebuild yourself one day at a time, one step at a time. And when you do, you will look back and see that every moment of pain, every setback, every challenge was preparing you for this moment. Rebuilding is not just about recovering what was lost. It's about becoming someone new. It's about becoming someone stronger, someone wiser, someone who has been through the fire and come out refined. When you rebuild yourself, you don't just go back to who you were. You become someone even better. You become the person you were always meant to be. So don't be afraid of the process. Don't be afraid of the work it takes to rebuild. Don't be afraid of the setbacks. Yes, there will be setbacks. Yes, there will be days when you wonder if it's all worth it. But those are the days when you have to remind yourself of the bigger picture. Those are the days when you have to remember why you started. You started because you believe that there is more for you. You started because you know that you were not created to live in brokenness. You started because you refused to let your life be defined by your past. And let me tell you this, you are capable of more than you think. You have the ability to rebuild. You have the strength to overcome. You have the power to rise above whatever has tried to keep you down. You don't need anyone's permission to rebuild. You don't need anyone to tell you it's okay. You don't need to wait for the perfect time or the perfect situation. The time to rebuild is now. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to fix everything in one day. But you do need to start. You need to take that first step. And then the next. And then the next. And before you know it, you will look around and see that you've built something new. You will see that you've created a life that is stronger. A life that is more resilient. A life that reflects the strength that has always been inside of you. The process of rebuilding yourself is not just about changing your circumstances. It's about changing the way you see yourself. It's about recognizing that you are not your mistakes. You are not your failures. You are not the things that have happened to you. You are so much more than that. You are someone who has the power to rebuild. You are someone who has the ability to take what life has thrown at you and use it to become better, not bitter. So what will you choose? Will you choose to stay down, to remain in the place where life has knocked you? Or will you choose to rebuild? Will you choose to rise again? Will you choose to believe that there is more for you, that there is still something great inside of you waiting to be built? You have everything you need to rebuild. It's already inside of you. The strength, the resilience, the power, it's all there. And it's waiting for you to tap into it. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for someone else to come along and fix things for you. You have the ability to rebuild yourself. You have the ability to create a new life, a better life. And it starts right now. You are not too far gone. You are not too broken. You are not beyond repair. You are still here. And that means there is still hope. There is still time. There is still a chance for you to rebuild. So don't waste another moment. Don't stay stuck in the past. Don't let what happened to you be the final word in your life. Decide today that you will rebuild. Decide today that you will rise again. And when you do, you will see that there is so much more waiting for you on the other side. Rebuilding yourself is the most important work you will ever do. It is the work of creating a new life, a stronger life, a life full of purpose and meaning. It is the work of transforming pain into power, of turning setbacks into comebacks. And it all begins with a decision. A decision to not let your circumstances define you. A decision to not let the past keep you down. A decision to rebuild no matter what. You might be thinking right now, but I don't have the strength. I don't have the resources. I don't know where to start. Let me tell you, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to take the first step. Strength comes in the doing. Courage grows as you move forward. Confidence builds as you make progress. And sometimes you only discover what you're capable of once you start the work of rebuilding. Rebuilding yourself is not about trying to go back to who you were before. It's about becoming someone even stronger. Life is not about being perfect. It's about learning and growing. It's about taking what was meant to break you and using it to make you. You have the ability to turn your pain into your greatest asset. You have the power to let your struggle shape you into someone who is unbreakable. You may have experienced failure. You may have made mistakes. You may have fallen short of your own expectations. But none of those things define you. What defines you is your ability to rise. What defines you is your decision to keep going, no matter how hard it gets. Rebuilding yourself means letting go of the old story you've been telling yourself. It means creating a new narrative where you are not the victim, but the victor. You see, the world will tell you to give up when things get tough. The world will tell you that you're finished when you've fallen. But the truth is, you only fail when you stop trying. As long as you have breath in your body, you have the power to change your life. As long as you're willing to keep going, you have the ability to rebuild. Think of all the people who have rebuilt their lives after losing everything. People who have come back from illness, bankruptcy, divorce, and disaster. They didn't rebuild because it was easy. They rebuilt because they refused to stay down. They rebuilt because they knew they were capable of more. And you are just as capable. You have the same strength inside of you. You have the same ability to rebuild no matter what has happened to you. But here's something important to understand. Rebuilding yourself is not just about physical or material things. It's about your mindset. It's about how you think about yourself, how you see your potential, how you view your worth. If you believe that you are not good enough, that you are not capable, then you will never rise. But if you believe that you are worthy of a second chance, if you believe that you have something valuable to offer, then nothing can stop you. You are not defined by your past. You are not defined by your mistakes. You are defined by the choices you make today. And today you can choose to rebuild. Today you can decide that you are not going to let life's challenges keep you down any longer. Today you can take the first step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. Rebuilding yourself also means letting go of what no longer serves you. Sometimes we hold on to things, habits, relationships, ways of thinking that are keeping us stuck. We think that holding on will make us feel safe, but in reality, it's keeping us from moving forward. Part of rebuilding is having the courage to let go. It's recognizing that some things need to be left behind so that you can grow. It's about making space for the new, for the better, for the stronger. You have to believe that what's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. Yes, you've been through challenges. Yes, you've faced difficulties. But those things don't define your future. They are only part of your story, not the whole story. And the most powerful part of your story is the chapter you're about to write. The chapter where you rebuild, where you rise, where you take control of your life and create something extraordinary. Let me remind you of this. You were created with purpose. You were created with the ability to overcome. You were created to be resilient. No matter what life has thrown at you, no matter how many times you've been knocked down, there is still greatness inside of you. There is still potential that is waiting to be unleashed. There is still something inside of you that the world needs. When you rebuild yourself, you don't just benefit your own life. You inspire others. You show others what is possible. You become a beacon of hope for those who are struggling. When people see you rise after being knocked down, they begin to believe that they can do the same. Your life becomes a testimony of what is possible when someone refuses to give up. You become an example of strength, of resilience, of what it means to rebuild. So don't wait for things to get better. Don't wait for the perfect circumstances. The perfect time to rebuild is now. Right now, you have everything you need to take the first step. Right now, you have the power to change your life. Don't let fear hold you back. Don't let doubt stop you from moving forward. You are stronger than you think. You are more capable than you realize. Rebuilding yourself means making a commitment to yourself. It means saying, I will not give up on me. It means recognizing that you are worth the effort. It means understanding that the greatest investment you can make is in yourself. Every time you take a step forward, every time you choose to rebuild, you are investing in a future that is brighter than your past. It's not about perfection. It's not about having everything figured out. It's about progress. It's about making the choice day after day to keep going. It's about believing in yourself. even when no one else does. It's about trusting that no matter how hard it gets, you have the strength to overcome. And you do. You have that strength inside of you right now. You may not feel it all the time, but it's there. It's in every breath you take, every decision you make to keep going. It's in every small victory, every moment of progress, every time you refuse to give up. That strength is what will carry you through. That strength is what will help you rebuild. You don't have to know how it's all going to work out. You don't have to have all the answers. You just need to start. You just need to take the first step. And once you do, you'll find that the next step becomes a little easier. And then the next. And then the next. Before you know it, you'll have rebuilt something incredible. Remember this, the process of rebuilding is not about rushing to the finish line. It's about embracing the journey. It's about learning, growing, and becoming stronger along the way. It's about realizing that every challenge you face is making you into the person you were meant to be. It's about knowing that no matter what happens, you have the power to keep going. You are not finished. Your story is not over. This is just a beginning. And the best part is, you get to decide how the next chapter will be written. You get to decide who you will become. You get to rebuild yourself into someone who is stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. So, don't be afraid of the process. Don't be afraid of the work it takes to rebuild. Yes, it will be hard. Yes, there will be setbacks. But those setbacks are not the end. They are simply part of the process. And as long as you keep moving forward, as long as you keep rebuilding, you will reach your destination. The future is waiting for you. The new you is waiting to be built. And every step you take toward rebuilding yourself is a step toward that future. So rise, stand up, take control, rebuild yourself, and watch as your life becomes everything you were always meant to be. You are not broken. You are rebuilding. And what you build will be stronger, more beautiful, and more powerful than anything that came before. Keep going. Keep believing. Keep rebuilding. Your best days are still ahead. Your best days are still ahead, no matter how many times life has tried to tell you otherwise. You may have been through storms, but storms don't last forever. And once they pass, you have the choice: will you let the wreckage define you, or will you rebuild something new from it? You are not defined by what has happened to you, but by how you respond to it. Life has knocked you down, but that doesn't mean you stay down. There's a greater purpose for your life, and rebuilding yourself is how you begin to discover it. You might feel weak right now, but strength is born in moments like these. Strength is not found in avoiding challenges, it's found in rising up despite them. Every time you choose to rebuild, every time you choose to go, you are becoming stronger, wiser, more resilient. Don't wait for someone else to come and rescue you. Don't wait for someone else to tell you it's time to rebuild. This is your life, your journey. And you have the power to take control of it. There will be moments when the rebuilding process feels slow, when it seems like you're not making progress. But understand, this progress is progress, no matter how small. Every single step forward, no matter how tiny, is a victory. And every victory builds momentum. It's like laying the foundation of a building. Each brick may seem insignificant on its own, but together they create something solid, something unshakable. That's what you're doing when you choose to rebuild your life brick by brick, step by step. You are building something unshakable. You might face doubts. You might have people in your life who don't believe in your ability to rebuild. But their doubts don't have to be your doubts. Their limitations don't have to be your limitations. It's easy for people to judge or criticize when they haven't walked in your shoes. But you know your own strength. You know what you're capable of. You know that there is more to you than what others can see. And that's what matters. Hold on to that knowledge. Hold on to the belief that you are capable of more, even if no one else sees it yet. And here's the thing, rebuilding doesn't just happen once in life. It's a process you might go through many times. Life is full of changes, full of unexpected turns. But every time you rebuild, you get better at it. Every time you rebuild, you do it with more wisdom, more grace, more determination. Life is not about avoiding the storms. It's about knowing that when the storms come, you have the power to rebuild afterward. You are never starting from scratch. Every experience, every challenge, every setback has taught you something. You are stronger now than you were before. You are wiser now than you were before. So even if you feel like you're starting over, you're not. You're starting from a place of greater understanding, greater strength. You have more tools in your toolbox now. You know what didn't work before, and you can use that knowledge to build something better this time. Rebuilding yourself is about more than just putting the pieces back together. It's about transformation. It's about creating something new, something better than what was there before. And transformation takes time. It takes effort. But it is always worth it. Because on the other side of that effort is a version of you that is stronger, more capable, and more aligned with your true self. You don't have to rush the process. You don't have to compare your rebuilding journey to anyone else's. Everyone's path is different. What matters is that you're moving forward. What matters is that you're committed to the process. Some days will be harder than others. Some days you'll feel like you've taken a step back. But remember, even on those days, you are still in the process of rebuilding. Even on the days when progress seems invisible, something inside of you is shifting. You are growing. You are changing. You are rebuilding. And in those moments when it feels tough, when it feels like you can't keep going, remember why you started. Remember that you are rebuilding because you believe in your future. You are rebuilding because you know that there is something inside of you that refuses to give up. You are rebuilding because you believe that there is more for you in this life. And that belief will carry you through the hardest moments. Surround yourself with people who support your rebuilding process. Not everyone will understand what you're doing. Not everyone will see your vision. But that's okay. You don't need everyone to understand. You just need to surround yourself with people who lift you up, people who believe in you, people who encourage you when things get tough. Sometimes we have to let go of relationships that hold us back in order to move forward. And that's okay too. Part of rebuilding yourself is recognizing what is helping you grow and what is keeping you stuck. You have everything you need to rebuild. The tools are already inside of you. The strength, the courage, the resilience, it's all there. You just have to tap into it. You just have to believe in it. And once you do, there is nothing that can stop you. Your past doesn't define you. Your mistakes don't define you. Your failures don't define you. What defines you is what you choose to do next. What defines you is your decision to rebuild. You can't change the past, but you can change your future. You can create a future that is full of possibility, full of hope, full of new beginnings. And it all starts with a decision to rebuild. No one said it would be easy. No one said it would be without challenges. But nothing worth having comes easy. And the life you are rebuilding is worth it. The person you are becoming is worth it. You are worth the effort, the time, the commitment it takes to rebuild. Don't ever doubt that. As you rebuild, you will discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed. You will find strengths you didn't know you had. You will realize that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. And that realization will fuel you. It will push you forward when things get hard. It will remind you that no matter what happens, you have the power to keep going. Rebuilding yourself is not about perfection, it's about progress. It's about taking one step at a time, one day at a time, and trusting that as long as you keep moving forward, you will get to where you need to be. It's about knowing that the process will have ups and downs, but that every step is worth it. And let me tell you something, when you rebuild yourself, when you rise from the ashes of what was broken, you don't just rebuild for yourself. You rebuild for the people around you. You rebuild for the people who are watching you, who are inspired by your strength. You rebuild for the next generation, showing them what is possible when someone refuses to give up. You are more powerful than you realize. You are more capable than you know. And as you rebuild yourself, you will see that power. You will see that capability. You will see that you have everything you need to create a life that is full of purpose, full of meaning, full of strength. So keep going, keep building, keep believing in yourself. You're on the path to something great. You're on the path to becoming the person you were always meant to be. And no matter how many times life tries to knock you down, you have the power to rise again. Rebuild yourself and watch as your life transforms into something greater than you ever imagined. The best is yet to come. And it's coming because you've made the decision to rebuild. You've made the decision to not let anything stop you. You've made the decision to rise. And that decision will lead you to places you never thought possible. So stand tall, stand strong, and keep rebuilding. Your future is bright, your potential is limitless, and your strength is unshakable. Keep moving forward and never forget you were created to rise. You were created to rebuild. And nothing can stop you now. Nothing can stop you now because you've made the most important choice. Anyone can make the choice to rise, the choice to rebuild, the choice to believe in yourself when everything around you tried to make you doubt. And let me tell you, that choice is everything. That choice separates those who settle for less from those who reach for more. That choice is what transforms your life from merely surviving to truly thriving. You've come too far to give up now. You've endured too much to let it all be for nothing. Every tear, every struggle, every setback, it's not in vain. Those moments weren't there to break you, they were there to make you. They were there to show you what you're really made of. And what you're made of is something unbreakable. You have been shaped by the storms you faced, but those storms didn't destroy you, they prepared you for this moment. The rebuilding process is sacred. It's where you find the truth about who you really are. You're not just a product of what has happened to you, you are the result of what you choose to do with what's happened to you. And you've chosen to rebuild. You've chosen to move forward. And that makes all the difference. Now, as you rebuild, understand that it's not just about putting back what was broken. It's about creating something new, something better. It's about taking what you've learned from your challenges and using it to design a life that reflects the strength and wisdom you've gained. The pieces of your past aren't just leftovers, they are the raw materials for something greater. You're not just patching up the old, you're constructing something that will stand the test of time. Something that can't be easily shaken again. You see, real strength doesn't come from avoiding hardship, it comes from facing it, from enduring it, and from rebuilding after it. Strength is built in the struggle. And every single time you push through a challenge, every single time you get back up after falling, you are adding to that strength. You are reinforcing the foundation of your life so that no matter what comes your way in the future, you will be able to stand firm. And here's another important truth. You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured out. Sometimes rebuilding means taking things one day at a time, one step at a time. It's okay to not know how everything will turn out. It's okay to feel unsure at times. What matters is that you don't stop moving forward. What matters is that you don't let uncertainty paralyze you. The path may not always be clear, but as long as you keep moving, you'll find your way. There will be moments when you look around and wonder if it's all worth it. Moments when the progress seems too slow, when the effort seems too great. But let me remind you, every great structure takes time to build. You wouldn't expect a house to be built overnight, and neither should you expect your life to be rebuilt overnight. Give yourself grace. Allow yourself the time you need to grow, to heal, to strengthen. You are in the process of becoming someone extraordinary. And that process is beautiful, even when it's difficult. It's in the middle of the struggle that the most profound transformation happens. It's when you feel like giving up that the greatest breakthroughs are just around the corner. Don't quit before you see the fruits of your labor. Don't stop before you've had the chance to see just how powerful you truly are. One of the greatest things about rebuilding yourself is that you get to decide what your life will look like. You get to decide what kind of person you will become. No one else gets to define you. No one else gets to decide your worth or your potential. You are in control now. The past is behind you, and you have the freedom to create a future that reflects who you truly are. As you rebuild, you'll realize that some of the things you thought you needed, you don't actually need anymore. Some of the things that seemed so important to you before, you can now let go of. Rebuilding gives you the clarity to see what truly matters in your life. It helps you understand what is worth holding on to and what needs to be released. And as you release the things that no longer serve you, you make room for the new, for the new, for the better, for the things that will support the person you are becoming. And the person you are becoming, they are unstoppable. They are resilient. They are strong in ways they never imagined. The person you are becoming is someone who knows their worth, who understands their power, and who doesn't let life's circumstances dictate their future. That's who you are becoming. And that's worth every bit of effort it takes to rebuild. As you continue to rebuild, remember that setbacks are part of the process. There will be days when it feels like nothing is going right. There will be moments when it feels like you're moving backward instead of forward. But those moments are not the end. They are just part of the journey. The key is to not let those moments define you. Don't let a bad day make you think you have a bad life. Don't let a setback convince you that you're not making progress. Every step, even the ones that feel small, is a step towards something greater. And when you look back one day, you'll be amazed at how far you've come. You'll be able to see the growth, the strength, and the transformation that happened along the way. You'll see that every challenge you faced, every obstacle you overcame was preparing you for something greater. You'll see that the process of rebuilding was not just about restoring what was lost, but about creating something entirely new, something stronger, something more beautiful, something that could only be built by someone who refused to give up. You are on a path to greatness, whether you realize it or not. The fact that you are still standing, the fact that you are still willing to rebuild, proves that there is something powerful inside of you. It proves that you have what it takes to create a life that is filled with purpose, meaning, and fulfillment. So keep going, keep believing in yourself, keep taking steps forward, no matter how small they may seem. The road ahead may not always be easy, but it will always be worth it. You are not defined by your past. You are defined by the choices you make today, and today you've chosen to rebuild. That choice will lead you to places you've never imagined. That choice will open doors you never thought possible. That choice will unlock the greatness that is inside of you. You are rebuilding not just a life, you are rebuilding a legacy. You are creating something that will outlast the challenges, outlast the setbacks, and stand as a testament to your strength, your courage, and your determination. And when others see what you've built, they will be inspired. They will see that if you can rebuild, so can they. Your life becomes a beacon of hope, a reminder that no matter how hard things get, it's always possible to rise again. So rise, rebuild. And know that what you are creating is not just for today, it's for tomorrow, for the future, for the legacy you will leave behind. You have the power to rebuild, and what you build will be stronger, greater, and more beautiful than anything that came before. Keep going, keep building, and never forget you are not defined by what you've been through. You are defined by what you choose to do next. And what you choose to do next will change everything.